Hi my dear friends, welcome back to another Python tutorial class. In this class we shall continue with the list typecasting. Already we have seen there are two ways in which we can go for creating a list. Like way 1 already we have seen, way 2 we have seen in our previous classes. If you have missed them out, I would request you to kindly visit those classes. Now way 3. Here again, you have the variable L is equals to apply the list method or function inside which I pass this input function, and inside the input function I write provide few values, then leave space. Already we have seen the application of this input function, which basically takes input value from the user, which is normally in the string format. Then after that, I'm just trying to print L and what type of value L holds. Okay, so just hit shift plus enter, and here suppose I write coding. So this is what will be entered here. Coding is entered here, and in the input function, whatever value we give, that is taken in the string format. Now the string value will be converted into a list thanks to this list method or list function. So once we have written coding, hit the enter button, and here you see a list has been obtained. And this list, it basically contains of 6 elements. First is C, then O, then D, then I, then N, then G. So the string has been converted into the list with the help of list type function, with the help of the list method. Further, if you go into this line list, then inside the single quotes, I'm passing these values 1, 2, 3, 4. This is again a string value 1, 2, 3, 4. So when this string value is passed inside the list function, then it will be converted into a list. If you run this, you see list has been obtained here. Okay, inside this list you have each and every character, like this is the string 1, then string 2, then string 3, and last is this string value of 4. Okay, so each and every character will be converted into an element of the list. Then the next, here again, see L is equals to, I first write the list method or function inside which I pass this input function. And inside the input function, write provide few values, and after that I leave some space, and then I'm trying to print L, type L, length L. So if you run this cell, hit shift plus enter, 10, 20, 40, 60. You see 10, 20, 40, 60. These values that have been entered here into this box, they are values. These are the values entered by the user, that is by me. So when these are entered by the user and go into the input function, then they will be taken in the format of string. These are nothing but your string values. So string values means this is not the integer 10 or integer 20 or integer 40 or integer 60. These are the string values that contains of these numeric values, but these are in string format. So each and every character shall be taken up as a separate element of the list. Like 1, this will be taken up as a separate element. Then 0, this will be taken as a separate element. Comma will be taken as a separate element. 2 separate, 0 separate, comma separate, 4 separate, 0 separate, then comma separate, then 6 separate, and finally you have 0 separate. So all these things will happen when 10, 20, 40, 60 provided by the user via the input function is passed to the list, so that typecasting to the list happens, and you will get a list where each and every character will be converted into a separate element of the list. So just hit enter, and you see first I entered these values 10, 20, 40, 60. In the input function, these values are basically taken up as string values, and when they're passed to the list method or list function, then we get a list, and inside this list you see each and every character has been taken up as a separate element. 1, then 0, okay, then this comma, if you see, then here you have this comma, okay, then 2, then 0, then this comma that I had entered in the box via the input function. That comma is also a separate element here, you see here. Then 4, then 0, then this comma here, then 6 and 0. So then print type L, what it will give, what kind of an object it is list object, that is class list. Len of L will give the length. of the list, how many elements it has got. So there are 11 elements inside this list. Okay, that same thing I've shown here only list. Then inside here I've given the single quotes, and then inside the single quotes I pass these values 10 comma 20 comma 40 comma 60, so we get a list. And here the same thing, 1 separate, 0 separate, comma separate, 2 separate, 0 separate, comma separate, 4 separate, 0 separate, comma separate, 6 separate, 0 separate. Okay, if you just run this cell via shift plus enter, then here L is equals to list, and again I'm passing inside the list function this input function, and inside the input function I'm writing provide few values. Then I'm trying to print L comma type L comma len of L means length of L. So if you try to run this cell and I pass a tuple. Suppose I try to pass a string, I pass a tuple here 10 comma 20 comma 40 comma 60. From the naked eye we can pretty much observe that this is a tuple, but this tuple I'm entering inside this box via the input function, so automatically this will be nothing but in the string format. This tuple that I'm entering here is not the numeric tuple, but rather now will be taken as string value. So each and every character here will be taken up as a separate element when I will do the list typecasting, because first of all 10 comma this, including this bracket, this entire tuple that I have entered here in this box shall be taken up as a string value thanks to the input function, which is allowing me to enter the value in the box. Now outside I have written this list method or function. So this entire string value will be now typecasted into the list format. What will happen in the list? Each and every character of the string value will be taken up as a separate element of the list. This will be a separate, then this will be 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 separate, then this separate, 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 this comma will be separate, 6 separate, 0 separate, and then this bracket separate. Okay, so hit enter, and here you see first of all I've got the list, and then inside this list each and every character of the string value has been taken up as a separate element of the list, like this bracket, then this 1 0 comma 2 0 comma 4 0 comma 6 0. After 6 0 you see, after 6 0 you have this closing bracket. So after 6 then there is 0, and then there is this bracket, the closing bracket. Definitely it belongs to the class list. And how many elements it has got? 13 elements it has got. Len of L gives this value 13. Okay, then you have L is equals to list. Inside this list I pass the input function provide few values and print L comma type L comma len of L. In similar way you can pass like this, try to pass a list 10 comma 20 comma 40 comma 60. So now this will be also, this is a list that I'm seeing through the naked eye, but when I'm entering it in the box via the input function, it gets converted into a string value, and then this string value will be passed to the list, so it will typecast it to the list. So each and every character of the string shall be converted into a separate element of the list, like the square bracket opening 1, then 0 comma 2 0 comma 4 0 comma 6 0, and then finally this closing bracket. So hit enter, and here you can see this is the list opening square bracket, closing square bracket. Inside that you have got all those separate characters being taken up as separate elements of the list. One square bracket 1 0 comma 2 0 comma 4 0 comma 6 0, then the closing square bracket. Okay, then L is equals to list input provide few values print L comma type L len of L. Here if you try to run this cell coding batch, then this is ultimately a string value that I am entering here into the box, and this will remain in the string format with the help of the input function only, and then this will be typecasted to the list where each and every character of the string shall be taken up as a separate element of the list. So just hit enter, and here we go, you get a list. Okay, here you get a list opening and closing, and inside this you have got these elements C O D I N G then there is space. This space also comes up here. Then BATCH. Okay. Now next method is eval method. What does this eval method do? It evaluates the type of the value passed to it. Okay, it evaluates the type of the value passed to it. So whatever value you pass to the eval function or eval method, it will determine what type of value it is. So for example, here x is equals to, then I write eval. Eval is another predefined method inside Python. Predefined method or predefined function inside Python, and inside the eval function, that is after eval method or function, you have to give these opening and closing single brackets, and then mandatorily you have to give these single quotes. Now inside these single quotes, whatever value you are passing, eval will try to determine what kind of value it is. Like here 20 is an integer value, so if you run this, you see, I have written here print x comma type x. Now, from the naked eye, you can see that inside the single quotes I'm passing 20. That means it must be a string value. But the job of eval is to determine that inside the single quotes, whatever you are passing, that is originally what kind of an object or what kind of data type. So like here 20 is actually an integer data type. So if you print x comma type x, first of all the value of x is printed, which is 20, and the data type is nothing but int, that is integer. Then in the next line, x is equals to eval, then inside the single quotes you try to pass 4.8. 4.8. Okay, so if you try to write here print x comma type x, then what will happen? The value of x will be printed, which is 4.8, and eval will determine what kind of value it is. It is nothing but your float value. Data type is float, that's what is printed here. Okay, run this. Then in the next cell, x is equals to eval. Then here you give single quotes. Here you give single quote, and inside the single quote you try to pass this coding. Now definitely, as we are passing here alphabets, that means it must be your string value. Now if I try to print x comma type x, what do I get? I get an error. What error? Name error. Name coding is not defined. Actually, what kind of a value you are trying to pass inside? Like previously I passed integer, then I passed float. Now I am trying to pass string. So directly if you want to pass the string value like this, eval will get confused. It won't be able to determine it. So for string value, what you have to do is, you have to first of all give this single quotes. Then inside the single quotes, if you want to pass your string value, then you can give these double quotes, opening double quote, closing double quote. Between these double quotes, then you write your word or string value, which is your coding. So now if you print x comma type x, what is the value of x? It is coding. What kind of a data type it belongs to? String data type, that is str data type. Okay. Similarly, x is equals to eval, and then here you have the single quote opening, single quote closing. Then after the single quote, I give double quote here, opening, double quote here, closing, just like here. After the single quote, you have double quote. These were the opening ones, and these are the closing ones, double quote and single quote. Similarly, here also single quote and double quote, opening ones, and then double quote and single quote, closing ones. Inside the double quotes, I pass this list. Okay, that is 1, comma 2, comma 3, comma 4. Now, since this list is enclosed inside the double quotes, so that's why this value, this entire value, will be basically decoded by the eval method as a string data type, str data type. So if you try to print x comma type x, the value of x will be given, which will be 1 comma 2 comma 3 comma 4. From the naked eye, you will say that it is a list, but in reality, you are passing a string value, str data type, because here you have the double quotes inside which you have passed this list. Okay, so eval will determine that this is actually a string data type. This value here is a string data type. Run this. Okay. Now, what you try to do here is x is equals to eval. Then inside eval, you pass this. You again, because inside the eval method or function, mandatorily you have to first of all give this single quote. Okay. Now inside the single quote, you pass this list. Now, in what is the difference between this and this? Like here also I passed a list, but this list was enclosed within the double quotes, whereas this list is not enclosed inside any double quotes. Directly it is passed inside the eval method. So when you print x comma type x, the value of x will be printed here, which is this list 20 comma 40 comma 60 comma 80. And what kind of a data type it belongs to? List data type. Okay, if you try to run this, okay, whereas here it was of str data type, string data type, and here you can see it is list data type, because we have not enclosed this list inside any double quotes. That's why. Okay, so just run this, you get it here. Now next, x is equals to eval, and here inside eval, like see, single in place of single quotes you can pass double quotes also at first. Like for example, if I just create another one, x is equals to eval, and I give this double quotes and then 20. Like quotes are mandatory inside eval method. You have to give the quotes, whether it be double or single. But now if I x is equals to eval, and inside the eval method or function, you see here you have quotes only, double quotes, but no more quotes. Like only you have this double quote here, opening one, and then this double quote here, closing one, and after these quotes there are no more quotes. Okay, so you're directly passing a value to the eval method or the function. So print x comma type x, the value of x will be definitely 20. Value of x will definitely be 20. What type of value it is? It will be of integer data type. You run this cell, you can see 20 is the value of x. What kind of data type it belongs to? Integer data type. So in this way also you can go for eval method or function, like instead of the single quotes you can give the double quotes also. Quotes after quotes will ensure that inside those you have string value. Otherwise, only if you have, like here for example, here you have quote after quote, quote after quote, and inside you had enclosed value that will be taken up as a string value in case of eval. Okay, like eval will determine that it is nothing but your string value. Now here x is equals to eval, and here you give this double quote, here you give this double quote, opening and closing. This is the opening one and this is the closing one. After the opening double quote you give this square bracket. After the square bracket, here this is the opening square bracket, and this is the closing square bracket. Okay, now that means it is a list. It is a list. Inside this list I'm passing two elements, and both of them are string values. Like coding is the first element, which is a string value. Batch is the second element, which is also a string value passed inside the list. Okay, so if I try to run this, here I am written print x comma type x len of x, value of x will be printed, which is this list. Inside this list you have got the string values, coding comma batch, and what kind of data type it belongs to? List. It is a list data type. Okay, len of x will give you the length of x, that is how many number of elements you have got inside this list. 1 and 2, two elements you have got inside this list. Okay, so just run this. So here you see, here after this quote, I didn't give any other quote. After this quote, I gave this square bracket. After that square bracket, inside this single quotes, I gave a value, comma. Inside this single quotes, I gave this value. Then here the closing square bracket. After that, this double quote. So this quote and this quote, they belong to the eval method or function. After which I'm directly passing a list. Okay. Now, instead here, if I would have say given something like this, then you will get error. Okay, so directly inside the eval method, I am passing a list containing two string values. This is the first string value, which is the first element. This is the second string value, which is the second element. Now, after that, L is equals to eval input, provide few values. Now inside the eval method or eval function, I've given this input function. Inside the input function I've written provide few values, then some space. Okay, so what you can do here is run this and try to pass a list 100 comma 200 comma 300 comma 400. Okay, so inside this box I'm passing a list. Inside this box I'm passing a list, thanks to the input function. Now eval will determine what kind of a data type this entire value is. Definitely it belongs to the list data type. So print L comma type L comma alien of L. First of all, the value of L will be printed, then type of L. First of all, L will be printed, that is this entire list will be printed. Eval will determine what kind of a value it is. Okay. So type L will give the value nothing but as list. The type L will give what type of what data type this entire value belongs to. It is a list data type, comma alien of L, length of L. That is number of elements inside this list. How many number of elements? One, then two, then three, then four. Four number of elements you've got inside this list. Just hit the enter button and here you go. You get this value, entire list value 100, 200, 300, 400. Then what kind of data type this value belongs to? Class list. And how many number of elements? Four. Then lst is equals to eval. Now, inside the eval method or function, you're passing input function, and inside the input function, you're writing enter some values. Okay. Then print lst, comma type lst, comma alien of lst. So what you can do here is basically here again try to pass a list, coding, comma batch. Okay, so this is again a list that you're passing inside this box thanks to the input function. Thanks to the input function. Okay, now this entire value will go to the eval method or function. First of all, I have provided this list inside this box that contains of these two string values. First is this string value coding, then this string value, that is your batch. Okay, and then thanks to the input function that I'm able to provide this list inside the box, this entire list will be now assigned to the eval method, and it will determine that overall what kind of a value it is, what kind of data type this value belongs to. Definitely it belongs to the list data type, isn't it? So print lst will give you this list, and comma type lst will give you what data type it belongs to, that is list, and alien of lst will give you the answer as to number of elements of this value, number of elements of this list. First element, second element. So two, answer will be two. Hit enter here. Okay, and here you go. Ultimately, first of all, you get whatever I tried to enter into that box as a user. Then the value assigned to lst that has been printed here, what data type it belongs to, list data type, number of elements of the list. Okay, so that's it for this class, my dear friends. If you've understood, then please hit the like, share, and subscribe button, and press the bell icon for notifications. And you can leave out your comments in the comment section. So thank you.